May 30th. Loneliness versus being alone. Sharing with others keeps us from feeling isolated and alone. Basic text, page 85. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Being lonely is a state of the heart, an emptiness that makes us feel sad and sometimes hopeless. Loneliness is not always alleviated when we enter into relationships or surround ourselves with others. Some of us are lonely even in a room full of people. Many of us came to Narcotics Anonymous out of the desperate loneliness of our addiction. After coming to meetings, we begin to make new friends, and often our feelings of loneliness ease. But many of us must contend with loneliness throughout our recovery. What is the cure for loneliness? The best cure is to begin a relationship with a higher power that can help fill the emptiness of our heart. We find that when we have a belief in a higher power, we never have to feel lonely. We can be alone more comfortably when we have conscious contact with the God of our understanding. We often find deep fulfillment in our interactions with others as we progress in our recovery. Yet we also find that the closer we draw to our higher power, the less we need to surround ourselves with others. We begin to find a spirit within us that is our constant companion as we continue to explore and deepen our connection with a power greater than ourselves. We realize we are spiritually connected with something bigger than we are. Just for today, I will take comfort in my conscious contact with a higher power. I'm never alone. I'm Herb the Addictaholic. This is just for today. I spent a little time in Iraq during the war, and I was amongst a bunch of other airmen, soldiers, Marines, I had people that were friends, that we were friends before we went out there, and I made friends out there. And I slept in a tent. I think there was between 6 to 10 of us in a tent at a time, and on cots, or we eventually had beds, and it wasn't so bad. So I thought, but then I found myself about 2-3 months in my cot or my bed, crying by myself for hours sometimes, just listening to music, sometimes listening to nothing. And I was lonely, even though I had friends that I could go hang out with. We had recreation tent that we can go, play video games, go on a computer, watch movies. Like, there was stuff to do, things to keep us busy. And I wasn't crying so much about being in war, being of service, being out there doing something, because I did belong to something bigger than myself. And whether or not I believe in what I was doing now, at the time I believed in what I was doing. So it wasn't that, and I thought about it, and I thought about it deeply. But the thing was, I was lonely. I didn't have a lot of people that understood me. I didn't relate or connect to a lot of people that I served time in the military with. I realize now in retrospect, it was my distance from my higher power, my distance from God. I was spiritually corrupt, or, not corrupt, but you get it. Like, I had a deficit of spirit, and I didn't know who or what to talk to. There was nothing comforting in just being with a couple other human beings. And that was probably the most lonely I've ever felt in my life. And I have felt lonely at other times throughout life. Just that was the deepest, darkest loneliness that I've ever experienced myself. So, being in the program now for a while, praying daily, meditating occasionally, going to all the meetings and stuff that I go to, I find now that I have this ability to quickly turn to talking to God, whether I'm doing good or bad. Hey, thanks God. Today's been a good day. Thanks higher power. Like, you really made my day, or you really helped so and so, and I can see it in their face, and that makes me happy. Thank you for allowing this person to succeed at what they were trying at, or receive the gifts that that were bestowed upon them by whomever, you know, mainly the higher power. I think all things good and bad come from, you know, this gift of life, and life began with, you know, and I forget that sometimes, but it's easier to remember today than it was, you know, a couple years ago when I was in my active addiction. And that loneliness doesn't have to be as deep as it once was. I do feel like I have a friend who's there with me all the time. And it's silly sometimes. I do feel like that kid talking to a invisible friend, but at the same time, like, I feel the presence of that invisible friend. I don't make up names for her, and it doesn't play games with me. And, you know, there's a difference. It's a more mature version, I guess, of having an invisible friend. Maybe those kids that have invisible friends are talking to their higher power. You know, it's not up to me to figure out or decide. I'm just happy today knowing that I have a relationship and I'm building it and strengthening it, and it's helping me, and I don't have to feel lonely ever again. Thank you guys for coming out. Hope to see you tomorrow. Keep coming back. It works if you work it.